I know I teased some stuff here about the Cowboys and maybe three of their weakest position groups. This comes from Blogging the Boys, which I can't say it enough. Thank these guys and gals over there for all the content that they put out. When those dead months of football, they throw a lot of interesting things your way, and I know my guys like to talk about it here. So, but they listed three positions that might not be the strongest for this football team, and I want to run through them with you guys and get your thoughts as well.
Okay.
And see if you agree with them, or see is there another position that you feel like is really more of a pressing issue. The first one I'll start with, I'm going to mix around their order a little bit because I want to save one of them for last because I kind of feel like I know what you're going to say. But one of the positions they mentioned was the tight end. And they say the tight end is a position for the Cowboys that isn't necessarily lacking talent and potential. Rather, they're lacking true experience on the field. The Cowboys currently head into the season with tight ends Jake Ferguson, Luke Schoonmaker, Peyton Hendershot, and Sean McEwen on their roster. While all possess talent as vertical threats in this Prescott-led Cowboy offense, they have yet to prove they're legitimate starting tight ends in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's certainly fair. They don't have the experience, but they they didn't get, they being Ferguson and Hendershot, didn't get a ton of opportunity in the passing game last season. They were mostly there into block, but the glimpses you got to see them in the passing game, you came away pretty impressed. So I think there is some level of projection because it's just been a small sample size, but I feel comfortable even if Scooney's not very good. If Scooney ends up being more of just, hey, you're kind of the blocker guy, I'll be annoyed that they spent the second-round pick and all that kind of stuff, but I still think you're in a good spot with Ferguson and Hendershot.
Yeah, I think this is maybe – I don't know, Blogging the Boys does a nice job, but like you got to look at the sample size of what they were given an opportunity to do last year. Both those boys are making plays.
Yeah.
And now you're bringing in a guy who was such a badass blocker in college that you took him with a 2. Yeah. Like, these guys are going to complement each other really well. I think it's a strength of the team.
I agree. I think we felt like it was a strength at the end of last year. And granted, that is with Dalton Schultz, but without him, I think you saw, hey, in the games that he missed, say the Giants game Monday Night Football early in the season, these tight ends are very capable. Peyton Hendershot's a guy that you've talked about they like a lot. I'm very high on Jake Ferguson. I think Jake Ferguson can have a really good year. And we like Schoonmaker. And Schoonmaker's going to add to that 12 personnel being able to block. I guess playing devil's advocate for the sake of them putting tight end here, this is kudos to the Cowboys roster. What other position would you replace tight end with? Do you think wide receiver is quite not as good of a group as tight end? Because you got the top 3 guys, but then after that there's a lot of questions. But I don't know if your top heavy is as good as, say, it's probably better than what you have at tight end.
It's much better. Your top heavy is much better because I think Lamb and Cooks are going to be
same thing with running back.
So
right?
you're asking the question, what position would you replace the tight ends with?
I can understand them putting tight end at 3 just because the rest of the position groups are pretty damn strong.
Yeah, I think wide receiver has a bigger depth issue than tight end does. Because I think you're top 2, and then I have a question mark with Gallup, and then everybody underneath him.
Yeah, after listening to you guys talk about this, I mean, we'll get to the other ones too. I would think that linebacker is more of a pressing issue than I would tight end.
You know what? I absolutely would replace linebacker there, and I like Damone Clark, but still, we got you talk about experience and their whole explanation of the tight end thing. Right behind Leighton Vander Esch, you've got nothing.
That's what I'm saying. You've got it's Vander Esch, and let's hold your rear and hope for the best right now that these guys. So. I think the tight end, I think they're saying this because of the lack of experience. Nobody started. Okay.
Don't you have faith, though, in the idea of Dan Quinn? And even if he finds himself with one legit linebacker in Leighton Vander Esch that's actually worth a dang, and then with all these guys that we've seen now with McQuamu and some of these dudes that it's like,
so you're saying
even a Marquise Bell, he can make Jaron Kearse a legit, and he already is basically a linebacker.
Parsons, Kearse,
they got
Vander Esch.
He's got so many chess pieces that I think he can mask that. I mean, as long as you do have Vander Esch, healthy, if that happens, because you got to have at least one legit linebacker on the field.
I don't think it'll be an issue because I think Damone Clark's going to be good. But just for the sake of this conversation, without knowing right now, I think I would probably put linebacker as a bigger roster weakness than tight end.
Absolutely, yeah. Linebacker, running back, and kicker would be my three.
Okay.
Is that cheating? Is that cheating?
No,
it's not.
But let me say this. If you want to be a great defense, you have to go get good linebackers.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, I trust Dan Quinn to put it together with what he has, and we're going to steal a little from here and a little bit from there.
Yeah.
If you want to be truly elite, you're going to need a stud in there.
You guys are making great points. The whole thing with masking. He's masking the fact that he could put Curse down there or Wilson down there and make up for somebody like Cox or others that aren't ready to play.
Life should be made easier for those guys now with a consistent either Mozzie or Hankins on the field, at all times from a run defense standpoint.
The next position, left guard.
Yeah, for sure.
While the Cowboys front office did an incredible job bringing back key free agents this offseason, they were not able to bring back every player. They felt the loss of their former starting left guard, Connor McGovern, when he decided to sign a 3-year, $22.3 million contract with the Buffalo Bills. While the loss hurts the Cowboys' depth, it's understandable that the Cowboys front office opted not to match the value of Buffalo's offer.
I thought about guard, but then I'm thinking Tyler Smith is probably going to be over there, and if that's the case, that's an epic strength. So I'm assuming health.
Yeah,
I'm assuming health going into this.
Assuming health, I'm with you there. I just think with Tyron, gosh dang it, we can't do that. And then is it Farniak?
Sounds like they're banking on the fact that Tyron Smith is not gonna hold up.
Yeah, it's safe to do that.
Because if you said Tyler Smith is your left guard,
you feel great about the starting five.
Would you feel good too about Farniak behind him?
Yeah,
as a backup, sure.
Yeah,
you got to plug and play him for a game or two. Yeah, but if he's got to end up being your starting left guard, then you've got just as many questions as we've talked about with some of these other unproven players.
Power rank if you had to play. Say Tyler Smith plays left tackle. Farniak, McGovern, and Connor Williams. Have you gotten worse every year playing at left guard?
Boy, yeah, I think you have. McGovern and Connor Williams. I mean, I think you have. I think Connor Williams might have been the penalties is what might tilt this, but in terms of just consistency of play, I wanted Connor McGovern to be so darn good, and he was really disappointing for me.
Scouts did too, by the way. They felt like that Philbin let him down on that one.
Yeah, man. I thought Connor McGovern was going to be an upgrade,
but there was
really wasn't.
Yeah, but there were some really brutal penalties on Connor Williams, and he's a guy that can get ragdolled.
Sure.
I don't know that it was necessarily a drop-off from Williams to McGovern, but from Williams to McGovern now to Farniak off an injury, I think you're talking about a downgrade more than likely.
The final one for this group of three. These are all the problems that Blogging the Boys kind of feel like the Cowboys are going to have to overcome. It's Gavin, you're right. It's the kicker. The kicker. The position group that currently lacks the most talent on the Cowboys offense is one of the most important positions in the league, kicker. Currently, the team only has one kicker on their depth chart, Tristan Vizcaino. Vizcaino has limited experience on the field. By the way, I think his limit is only about 52 yards. Watching him kick. Vizcaino. I think he's only about 52 yards. But
can't get one they draft too well, Brian.
Yeah, well, that's where they're at right now. So those were the three position groups that they feel like. Do you have any thoughts on the kicker? You guys kind of all agree that's a big unknown right now, right?
Punt on field goals. How about that? Just go score touchdowns, dude. Get some first downs when you find yourself in a bind. Let's just, let's go 4 downs, man.
Well, this coach likes to, he does like to go for it, but he also likes to kick long field goals.
He does.
And
he loves it.
And you watch Vizcaino, there's not the pop.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a guy out there unless they find a USFL or XFL guy, maybe,
or a MLS guy,
maybe an MLS guy. Hell, I'm still pining for Harry Kane to come over here and do something. But I think it might end up being Robbie Gould still at the end of the day. I'm holding out hope.
Yeah, the one player that's out there I think that might make the most sense for the Cowboys right now is Robbie Gould.
Gang of Seven was talking about Robbie Gould, though, doesn't kick off anymore, and he doesn't want to kick 50-yard field goals. That's another thing.
Well, the NFL doesn't want to do kickoffs either. Well, we can come to an agreement.
What really became brutal was the shorter distance field goals that Maher had trouble hitting.
Yeah, the PATs and stuff. He had a massive case of the yips. I do feel like if you're going to spend for a kicker, he's got to be a boomer, though, because that's one of the few places where you get stuck in these decisions where it's 3rd and 7.
Right.
And it's the end of the half, and it's It's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
If you have a kicker, that's a weapon. Take an extra half touchdown right here.
Yeah.
So I think the Cowboys are massively undervaluing it because they are so strict with their salary cap management. And, hey, to each their own. Hopefully their process results in some postseason success here pretty soon. It's been going on, 9 years? This window's been open since 2014. They've been managing the cap like this, and making the playoffs every other year. Now they're making the playoffs every year like this for a decade.
We need to have a super kicker like this Ariza guy, the punt god.
Yeah.
There's got to be a guy that can also be a dueling kickoff guy.
Yeah.
Like you can punt the ball and field
hear
goal
ya.
kick it.
It's
You don't have
kicking.
enough
Yeah.
hours in
Brad
the day
Wayne.
to figure out both of these.
Did
just
Brad
different
Wayne do
technique.
that at LSU?
Yeah, but that's the problem is San Francisco, because they had Robbie Gould, who doesn't miss in the playoffs. They had to carry it. They had to have an extra guy or
kickoff
punter.
specialist?
Yeah.
What's David Beeler up to?